From the Detroit Free Press in the heart of the Motor City, it's Friday, September 18th. Here are today's top stories.
Presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. II. $700 million and 300 new jobs will yield the first all-electric F-150, according to Ford Motor Company executives. The auto manufacturer announced plans Thursday to build a plant at the Rouge complex. At the company's live stream event, Executive Chairman Bill Ford discussed the history of the Rouge facility.
The Rouge was our most important plant more than 100 years ago, and it remains at the heart of Ford today and Ford tomorrow.
The company is calling the new plant the Rouge Electric Vehicle Center. The job will support battery assembly and the production of both the F-150 Power Boost Hybrid and fully electric F-150. This plan comes despite the economic challenges of the pandemic. Bill Ford said it's important to keep the U.S. manufacturing base strong and help the country get back to work. In coronavirus news, graduate student employees at the University of Michigan ended their strike Thursday after starting last Tuesday. The Graduate Employee Organization organized a demonstration to demand better working conditions in response to the coronavirus pandemic, among other things. Free Press reporter David Jesse has more details. David, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
What were the union's concerns and what were they demanding of the university?
The union's biggest concerns were that they were being asked to teach face-to-face, that they had students who were brought back to campus, that there was not a clear COVID plan in place. They didn't feel transparency coming from the university. So that was the big issue. They also had issues around policing on campus, what they called the militarization of campus police. And they also had a number of issues about childcare. A number of them have kids, and if they were having to teach face-to-face and their kids were at home during school, would they be able to pay for that? Could they get a childcare credit to help cover some of those costs?
How did the school and the administration respond to the union?
Well, at first they sat down and negotiated with them. They sent an offer over to the university a few days into the strike. The union leadership passed that offer on to the full body, and the full body rejected that, voted to continue striking. And at that point, the university went to court in what's known as an injunction, and to tell the union that it had to get back to work. They thought they had the legal right to strike, that they were going to stay out and try to force the university to make changes. And that's actually what happened. You know, after the injunction was filed, the two sides got back together. The university gave them another offer that incorporated some of the things the union wanted to see happen. And then late last night, the whole membership of the union agreed to it.
And that's what led to the ending of the strikes.
Yep, and that also then canceled out the court injunction.
How much of the requests that the union initially made was included in the compromise that the university offered the union?
They got some childcare assistance. They also got guarantees of seats at the table as the university discusses broader issues around policing. They also got a promise from the university that a couple members of the Board of Regents, the governing board, would sit down with them and talk about some of these issues that they raised. And they also got a new process so that if you're a graduate student who was supposed to be teaching face-to-face and for some reason you feel unsafe or you're compromised or you have a child who's got an issue, there was this ability for them to, in essence, appeal the demand that they work face-to-face.
Detroit Free Press reporter David Jesse, thank you so much.
Thank you.
One point of clarification here. The interview was recorded on Thursday, so when David says the union agreed to the university's terms late last night, that is late Wednesday night. Here are your coronavirus case numbers. The state reports 829 new cases of the coronavirus and 9 new deaths Thursday. 5 deaths were uncovered in a review of death certificates. In total, there are over 114,000 COVID-19 cases and over 6,600 deaths statewide. That's the latest. For more information on COVID-19 in Michigan, visit www.freep.com.
This is Evan Petzold of the Free Press Sports Department. Cleveland Indians right-handed starter Shane Bieber wanted to continue pitching in the 8th inning against the Detroit Tigers. Interim manager Sandy Alomar Jr. tried to pull him after 7 2/3 scoreless in a 10-run game, but Bieber, already over 110 pitches at this time, refused to depart. The next batter, Willie Castro, lined a 3-run homer to put the Tigers on the board. But the Tigers still lost 10-3 Thursday at Comerica Park. With the defeat, Detroit dropped to 21-28 overall. The ball club is 5 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays for the AL's 8th and final spot in the expanded 16-team postseason. Meanwhile, the Indians snapped an 8-game losing streak and got back on track in pursuit of staying in the playoff picture, jumping a half game ahead of the Blue Jays, now in the 7th spot. The Seattle Mariners are the AL's 9th place team, 4.5 games back of the Blue Jays. The Orioles, like the Tigers, trail by 5 games. The Tigers continue the 4-game series with right-hander Michael Fulmer starting Friday, followed by righty Spencer Turnbull on Saturday and lefty Matthew Boyd on Sunday. The Indians counter with Zach Plesac, Tristan McKenzie, and Carlos Carrasco.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.